flight, we are go for launch. T minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. This is Navigating AI, hosted by Rich Wilson, guiding business leaders through the new intelligence era. Let's explore how AI is reshaping business, leadership, and the world.
Welcome to Navigating AI, where we guide business and HR leaders through the new intelligence era. Today's episode is titled the HR Tune-Up Playbook. We will talk about compliance, structure, benefits, and practical AI. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Tiffany Slater, CEO and Senior HR Consultant at HR Tailor-Made. Tiffany has spent nearly 30 years in HR, from intern to entrepreneur, helping small and mid-sized organizations build systems that actually work. Dr. Tiffany's approach rejects HR as the police and replaces it with policies and processes that match the culture leaders want to create, supported by focused quarterly sprints that deliver real outcomes. In this episode, we will dig into the moves that matter as companies grow: compliance checkpoints, team structures that actually scale, benefit strategies by stage, and practical ways AI can save time in HR work without losing the human touch. Dr. Tiffany, welcome to the show. Great to have you here, and it's so nice to see you again.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited for this conversation.
Us too. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's start with what shaped your approach. You've done the full arc from intern to founder across 3 decades. What convinced you to build HR Tailor-Made, and what does rejecting traditional HR look like in practice for your clients today?
Yeah, so I started HR Tailor-Made because I no longer enjoyed HR. Um, and so I was miserable and I needed to find joy in the work that I was doing again. And I figured, well, I'm probably not going to get this working for someone else. So I have to create my own reality of joy for myself. And once I started really loving what I was building for myself, I decided that everybody deserved to experience the same level of joy. And that's when I decided that I wanted to have a team so that they could enjoy the work that they do with the people that they do it with, and so that I could increase the level of impact that I make and have on other organizations. So that's how I got here. And I reject traditional HR, if you will. I don't know that calling HR the police is traditional, but it is certainly a title that some HR departments do deserve and have earned, and is certainly a title that a lot of organization or individuals and organizations would give to HR, because there are times when the HR department is hyper focused on policies and did you follow the policy? Did you look at the employee handbook? Did you do all the things? Those things are important, but I would argue that there is a better way of going about things. Make things easier for people. Set people up for success so they don't have to go searching for things. Make it so that HR is a customer service provider to the employees and to the organization as a whole. That is certainly a role that HR plays, but I think that we could do a lot better in terms of making things easy and more accessible for people.
Okay. You've talked quite a bit about running the quarterly sprints, not vague projects. Could you walk us through what one of those sprints looks like?
So, in terms of sprints, the way that we serve our clients is that we look at their organization as a whole and we understand what their goals are and how that can translate into how HR can support those goals. And so instead of saying, okay, over the course of the year, we're going to do all of these things, we go quarter by quarter because anybody in the HR world knows that no single day is the same as the next. Everything happens on the fly and you have to be flexible. So we tend to look at our projects on a quarterly basis. We also like for our clients to deliver feedback on a quarterly basis because we want to make sure that we give people enough time to self-correct, to get some training, to retool so that they can be effective at the job that they've been hired for. So we do quarterly sprints in several ways, and it's been very effective for us as well.
Okay. So you're building an HR tune-up. What are the must-do reviews each year, twice a year, every quarter? What cadence keeps the teams ahead of risk?
Yeah, so there's really no master list, right? In terms of when to do these things. What I would say is in terms of personnel policies or employee policies, you want to look at those minimum once a year. Obviously, as things change in your organization or legally in the world, federal government comes up with a new law or tweaks a law. Your state changes or adds or tweaks something. You want to make those changes immediately when they happen. But on an annual basis, you want to review policies to check to see if anything snuck under the radar. Does our dress code policy still apply? The attendance policy, we don't need it to be as strict as it is. Those are the types of things that you want to review on an annual basis. Performance management system or process, is it still effective? Is it still informing your people decisions in a way that help you to ensure that people are successful in their job and that they're able to grow in their job? I would also look at our payroll policies. Sometimes there are things that change as it relates to um, your if a person is deemed as exempt, which means they're not eligible for overtime. There
Yeah.
have been a few times that I can recall where the minimum annual salary has increased. And there have been a couple organizations that have been caught paying people below that threshold, and
Mm.
they were cited with some fines, some very significant fines. So there are things that you just have to make sure that you keep your ear to the ground about.
Mhm.
A lot of payroll companies, a lot of law firms, if you sign up for their newsletters, they will email you about changes that have been made as well. So those are the ones that come to mind come top of mind for me. The other thing that I didn't mention is job descriptions.
Mhm.
The way that we do job descriptions at HR TaylorMade is they are the first component of the performance management process. So if your job descriptions are not updated, how do you know if the person is doing their job? How do you know if they're effective at doing their job? So that is something that should absolutely be updated, reviewed on an annual basis as well.
Structure and compliance usually break at certain sizes once employers hit certain thresholds of people on payroll.
Mhm.
What are the key compliance checkpoints as organizations pass roughly 15, 50, and then 100 employees?
Yeah. One of the major ones is insurance, whether or not you are required to provide insurance, whether or not you are required to pay any portion of the insurance. Are you required to provide workers' compensation insurance? Disability insurance for some, like in New York, organizations are required to provide disability insurance. I don't remember the number of employees that are required, but that is a requirement. So, FMLA, once you hit 50 employees, you are required to offer FMLA. So there are definitely some thresholds that organizations need to be aware of. And I think what that's what makes having partners so important. So if you have insurance, work with a broker because the broker will be the one who can say to you, "Hey, you've crossed this threshold. Now you have to provide insurance. You're not at a point where you can just make it optional, and available to people. You have to provide it." So, knowing the laws is important, but if you have partners who know the laws, they will be looking out for those things for you. It's impossible for executive directors, for business owners, and leaders of all sizes and shapes. It's impossible for you to know everything. And it's impossible for you to do every job in the organization.
I would agree. That's the wear every hat phase, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, where outside perspective moves faster than inside, where does fractional HR outperform internal teams? And how does compassionate candor help you move a reluctant leadership team from advice to action?
That's a great question. What I love about being a consultant is people pay us to give our opinion.
Mhm.
The reverse is opposite when you work internally. You get paid, but a lot of times they don't listen to what you have to say. And it always baffled me because I was I would often say, "You hired me. You chose me because you thought that I was intelligent enough to lead this HR department, but you won't listen to me?" Um, so being a consultant, they listen because they're paying for your opinion. I don't know what that's about, but that's one of the things. That's
Mm.
one of the reasons that fractional support is very helpful. The other thing is for us, fractional support is right sized based on the amount of money that we charge. So, hiring an HR department is upwards of $200,000. Full-time HR department, upwards of $200,000. I and it might be more than that depending on the size. But from a fractional perspective, we are efficient at the work that we do, so our clients don't need full-time HR support, and if they do, we're not the right fit for them. But they don't typically need full-time HR support, and they have the benefit of our entire team. So it's not just the HR assistant, it's not just the HR manager, it's my lens on things as well. So that is the benefit of having fractional support also. The other thing that I think is pretty cool is we get to see inside of so many different organizations that we have a library of solutions that we can share with our clients because our clients are so unique and so awesome and they love their teams that we have so many things that we can share with across our clients because of what we are learning with our clients or from our clients.
Okay. Let's pivot for a moment. Let's get specific on where AI helps and how leaders can test it safely. Where are you seeing real gains from AI right now?
The way that we use AI is, for me, I use it for job descriptions. Job descriptions can be some of the most time consuming and tedious projects to work on. AI took a week long project to 2 hours. So it
Oh,
definitely has been super helpful in that regard. I also really love using AI for job postings. The other thing that I do that has really helped to push my thinking is I use AI to create a day in a life paragraph. For example, if I'm hiring for a web developer, I give AI the job description and I say, hey, create a day in the life for this job. It will take the job description and say, okay, let me take all of the best parts of this and create a day in the life example based on your culture in the organization that you are filling this position for. And voila, I have a paragraph of a day in the life. The reason that that's helpful for me, I'm very visual. So sometimes it's really hard for me to think about, okay, how do I explain this job to my team member that I want to do this job? How do I explain it? Well, if I have a day in the life, they can look at it and see very clearly, oh, that's what you want me to do. So I highly encourage people to do that as well. The other way that I'm using AI is to help me get all of my thoughts out to craft presentations. Creating copy or content for presentations has been one of the most grueling processes for me because I overthink things. So now what I do, I go to AI and I turn on the talk mode or the voice to text mode, and I tell it to ask me questions to help me get out all of my thoughts about this particular topic that I'm building a presentation on. It does it, it pulls it all together, and it's like, here you go. So it'll give me a speech or it'll give me a presentation, but it's my own words that it has taken and crafted and pulled all together, which has been super helpful for me as well. Um, Performance management tools. One of the things that I did for my clients is I developed a performance management tool, but I wanted to have examples of what effective is, what exceeds expectations is, and what below expectations is. I asked AI to draft a example performance evaluation from the employee's perspective. Then I took that and asked it to do one from the manager's perspective for a specific position. And it did it. And it was so helpful. And I mean, even if you read through the things, there are a few things that you're going to have to tweak in order for it to make sense. But those types of things are so very helpful. And it doesn't matter that I didn't create it. Who cares about an example? If it's something that allows you to truly understand how to deliver a performance management process.
If a company wanted to test AI in HR for 30 days, what
Yes.
is a small, safe pilot that you would recommend, and how would you measure the success?
Mm. I would do the job descriptions, and I would say the job descriptions because they are so very time consuming,
Mhm.
and it's easy to test because you upload one of your old job descriptions, right? There's nothing proprietary about job descriptions for the most part, nothing I can think of. And then once you put it in AI and you asked it to update it or add success measures, like whatever it is you're trying to do for this job description, you take the end result and you give it to the person who is in the job. Ask them, does this feel right? And then ask the supervisor to review it and say, Does this feel right?" Then you'll know if AI is on track or not. But even if AI is not on track, you're going to feel better about that job description than you do about the one that you uploaded.
To ensure the right audience finds you, who gets the most value from your model today, and what outcomes matter most in the first two sprints?
Yeah, I would say nonprofit organizations get the most value from us. And in the first couple sprints, the employee handbook is typically one of the first ones that we do. Whether the organization has an employee handbook or not, we start with the employee handbook because we need to understand the organization. We need to understand the policies that we are helping them to execute. And then the second one truly varies by organization. It could be a fire that they've got going on, something happening in the organization that they need support with, or it could be we don't have a performance management system. We need that, or we need job descriptions because we don't have any. It just depends on what that particular organization needs. Some organizations come to us and understand that they need to switch payroll systems because the one they have doesn't allow for virtual onboarding or doesn't allow for team members to input their own stuff or their own information. So the second sprint truly is dependent upon the HR audit that we do when we first start working with an organization.
So, a story helps operators picture the work. Share a recent before and after. What was the problem? What did you implement? And
Mm,
what moved the needle?
yeah. One of our clients started with us because they didn't have an HR team and they were having some real cultural challenges. And
Okay.
so when I started working with them, when I say cultural, I mean bad actors, people that just were out of control. Um, so when I started working with them, they presented those challenges to me. I helped them navigate the disciplinary issues that needed to be addressed. We addressed them in a very humane way. Um, and we moved some people along to their next career. As a result of that, there was a huge shift in the culture already. We implemented a policy, or not a policy, but a process for executing new policies.
Hmm.
When policies were updated, we sent it out to everyone and said, "Here's the policy. Please sign to say that you received it." And we stored those acknowledgement forms. That was not something that had been done. We also developed a new performance management process for them, a new tool, which was a little easier to navigate than what they tried to do before because it was very cumbersome, it was very detailed, which is fine, but it was not connecting to them. They weren't connected to it. They hadn't spent enough time fine-tuning it by job position, which made it very cumbersome. So we got a new process in place, executed. That went well. The other thing we did was implemented an ATS, an applicant tracking system, which had not been done. Everything had been done via email, and it was a lot of moving pieces. So we simplified it by implementing an applicant tracking system. We also got to the point where now we are in the final phases of helping them find their forever HR person, um, because we put so many things in place that now all they have to do is bring somebody in to maintain them. So their culture is a lot better. They have people on the team who love being there. Everyone is respectful of each other, of the space, of the leaders, and the organization is thriving in ways that they couldn't see themselves thriving before because they were losing momentum due to having to stop and focus on the bad actors.
Okay. If a 40 to 60 person company asks for a one-page plan for the next quarter, what three moves would you put on it? And give them to me in specific order. And how would you know each move worked?
Yeah. So that is a it depends answer.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you an answer though, but it
Sure.
depends because every organization is different. I would want to know what are some of the challenges they're facing right now? What are their goals? And based on their answers, we would develop a strategy for helping them get there. So, the first thing though, let's say this organization has no HR anything. I'm always going to say we need to start with an employee handbook because we first need policies to anchor everything to. The policies help us develop accountability. It helps us develop the rules of engagement and tells people this is what you can expect from us as the organization. And on the opposite, on the flip side, this is what we expect of you. So the employee handbook first, job descriptions second. What are you holding them accountable for? How are they going to know if they're successful or not? That's the second one. And the third one is I'm going to say the onboarding process. The onboarding process is so important and people downplay its importance all the time because we're so eager to get people in the door that we forget that we actually have to train them. We actually are responsible for their success. So those are the top 3 things that I would tell an organization to start with.
I like those. I like those a lot. Now, before we wrap, we like to do a quick lightning round on benefits and growth. So, as HR systems mature, benefit strategies usually need a refresh. What's one benefits change that often delivers value quickly for small employers?
Flexibility. Flexibility in their schedule, which doesn't cost you anything if you structure it the right way. I always often wonder why people care if individuals are in the office. I understand the culture building, the collaboration, completely understand that. But to be in the office full time, I never understood that. Because if your accountability systems are effective and if your managers are holding people accountable, why do you care when they come to work as long as they get the work done and their deadlines are met and they're performing at a level that they should be performing at?
I would have to agree with that. I've actually had some of my most productive days from my office at home.
Yeah, yeah,
Helps not having to deal with that hour to hour and a half commute as well. So
it does.
does a lot.
Yeah, and the constant interruptions too.
hmm So, what marketing channels are working best for you right now?
I would say LinkedIn for sure. That's it.
That's it. Mhm.
LinkedIn.
So, you haven't tried anything new recently?
Nothing new. I've always had a website, always
hmm
had Instagram, always had Facebook, LinkedIn. I had a TikTok channel. I didn't really spend enough time on it. My people are on LinkedIn. And one of the things that I'm doing just to go a little deeper is I'm
Okay.
creating videos and I'm calling it your HR minute, your 1 HR minute video. And I have videos that post 2 to 3 times a week about a different HR topic. Those are getting a lot of engagement.
So, you had a TikTok channel that didn't work for you. You got rid of that. Were there any other channels that you tried or strategies that you tried that did not work for you?
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. Facebook is mostly family and friends, right? Which is fine.
Mhm.
I love, getting the support from them, but I'm looking for business. So I want my social media efforts to lead to business. LinkedIn is where it's at for me.
Okay. How
Mhm.
about referrals? How do those show up in your business?
Absolutely. Most of our clients come to us via referral. And so that's a huge part of our revenue.
Mhm.
And I'm wanting to not feel so dependent on that. I absolutely want the referrals to continue, but I need to figure out how to grow the business outside of that because I feel like a baby bird waiting on mama to come home and give me a worm. What I really want to feel as though I have some level of control in terms of our lead generation process.
Gotcha. So, with regards to the referrals, how do you keep those aligned with what your ideal client is?
Mm. Well, I definitely, one, tell people who it is that we are looking to work with. I
Mhm.
often do coffee chats with people where I'm just meeting them, and I will ask them, who I can refer their way, and I'll also tell them who they can refer my way. The other thing is my clients recommend us. That's mostly who our referrals come from are our clients, and they know who we are. They know how we've helped them, and so it's easy for them to recognize, someone else's need for the magic that HR TaylorMade creates.
Okay. So for those leaders listening and watching right now, thinking to themselves, we could really use Dr. Tiffany's help. What's the best way to connect or learn more about HR TaylorMade?
So our website is hrtailormade.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn on all platforms. We're at HR TaylorMade, so you can connect with us on in any of those ways. But yeah, you can reach us on the Google platform as well. Our Google's, I guess it's called the Google storefront or Google business page. You can contact us there. You can contact us on our website or on LinkedIn.
Dr. Tiffany, this was excellent. Thank you for
Thank,
joining me and for sharing your practical playbook.
thank you.
We'll link to HR TaylorMade. And just for those of you listening, Taylor is Tailor made. And we'll note that in the show notes. If you found this helpful, follow the show, share this episode with a founder or other HR leader who's scaling right now. Tiffany, once again, thank you so much. It's been
Thank
really
you.
nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Mission accomplished. This is Navigating AI. Subscribe for more insights into how AI is transforming business, leadership, and the world. Until next time, stay curious, stay ahead.